Welcome to Tenacious Entrepreneurs, where perseverance meets purpose and every setback is just another step forward. Join us as we dive into the journeys of entrepreneurs who faced failures, embraced change, and emerged stronger than ever. Whether you're dreaming big or already on your way, this podcast is here to remind you that the end is only the beginning. Stay inspired, stay tenacious, and let's conquer the entrepreneurial world together.
Welcome to the Tenacious Entrepreneur Podcast. I am your guest host, Tracy Kelly, and today joining us will be our main host, Joey Dupont, remotely. And also we have Mr. Paul Childers, who has started Blue Sky Business Solutions. So, Joey, how's it going?
Man, it's going great. Thank you guys so much for doing this for me, Tracy. And Paul, thank you for navigating through all these wonky changes. I appreciate you.
No problem. It's part of life, right?
Yeah. Entrepreneurs, we overcome, we adapt. Who says it's the Marines? It's us, man. Well, Paul, tell me a little bit about yourself, man. I'd love to hear, like, what do you do? What's your background? Are you married with kids? And we met each other on the internet.
Yeah.
So I swiped right, and here you are. So
yeah. So obviously, Paul Childers, my name. Founder of Blue Sky Business Solutions. I'm married. We are. We went on 16 years this year. But she has put up with me being busy and kind of into everything. I job jumped a lot when I was younger out of college. We've got 2 kids, and I'll go into that because the job jumping piece really kind of, I think, dictates or preludes to stuff that led up to where I'm at now. We've got 2 kids, 12 and 8, a daughter and a son, both super active and busy in sports. Both very intelligent, very good kids overall, right? I think you got to say that about all of your kids, although they can be little butt heads too, but that's everybody.
how old are they again?
12 and 8.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So daughter's going to be a 13-year-old in December this year. So
yeah, girls are a lot easier. I got 5 kids. 3 of them are girls, and then I got 11 grandkids. I'm at a different phase. I'm a little bit further down the line, but you're in for the teenage years, man. Congratulations. We'll be talking a lot.
it's good. It'll be good. It's a change is just change, right? And you just adapt and you move on with it. And I think the biggest part is you just meet them on their level and grow. And they try to when they're trying to identify and find themselves in their growth in that teenage years, just kind of be present, do your best to embarrass the crap out of them and enjoy life.
Yeah. Hey, there you go, man. There you go. So tell me, like, where did you grow up at? What part of the world? Like,
absolutely. So I grew up in Minnesota, born and raised. Haven't ever moved out of the state for whatever reason. Went to college here, met my wife in college. Now we live in a tiny little rural town in Minnesota. She was a farmer's daughter. So I live in a town of 1,400 people. Background wise, like, right, I got through school. I was never good at school. I think we could probably start at that, right? I think most entrepreneurs aren't.
We're dreamers.
So I was never good at school. Meeting my wife in college was my first real experience of delegating, because I delegated stuff over to her so I could pass and get through college.
Yeah.
So we got married. I came out of college right in 2008, so right when the recession hit. So I remember, man, I think I put out 200 job applications and resumes over the course of like 3-4 months and just couldn't find anybody to go, to hire me, take a chance on me. So I just ended up working odds and ends jobs. Ended up being a forklift driver at Menards for a while.
You settled in a town of 1,400 people. That was your graduation. So, I can't imagine. You didn't have a lot of options, huh?
No, not really. Worked at a pretzel factory, right? So I've had some weird jobs throughout the course of my adult life, mostly hourly jobs. And, that kind of always, like, didn't sit right with me, just with the fact, like, hourly wages, I'm bringing more to the table, I'm doing a lot more than I should be. And it was while I was working at Target where I kind of had one of those like, I'm really tired of this. Like I've been doing
Yeah.
all the told, been doing what I was supposed to be doing, and I'm not getting any further, right? In the meantime, my brother was also working for Target, left, went and worked for a startup doing like credit card processing out east in Boston, where he lived out there for 3 years. That company sold to Chase, and he came back to Target. And when he left Target, he was just basically an hourly employee. After 3 years away doing being a project developer for this startup company, he came back to Target one level underneath the VP. And it was kind of then that I kind of like my eyes opened up to like, oh, like the secret is to go out and get more skill sets, become more valuable, and then go back and apply for different jobs because it's easier than working your way up through a company.
Right. Right.
Then I kind of started job jumping, but that got me into automotive where I was selling cars,
Okay.
right? Because I was like, okay, I got to go do something else, do something that's worth my time where I can make what I feel like I'm worth, I guess, or at least prove it. Didn't have any sales experience. I've never sold, never really sold prior to that, and got into automotive and fell in love with it. And ended up averaging about 25 cars a month my first year, first 11 months selling. Moved up into management, worked my way up to be, general sales manager, finance manager, used car manager. And that kind of just gave me the experience, I think, to be kind of an entrepreneur in a way, because when you're doing a dealership stuff, if you do it right, the owners don't really handle stuff with you, right? They just kind of like let you do your thing.
Right. You almost like you're the owner because you get a lot of bandwidth that you can choose to do what you want to do.
Yep. And I was
So
fortunate to be a good owner, but a
so
lot.
my background was I had RV dealerships and campgrounds. So I grew up in the sales world, but my dad was a salesman. And I grew up learning sales since I was 15 with him. But it was RVs, so it was big ticket items. I always said it's fun to sell something that people want, not what they need. Whenever you're selling something that they want, man, it's fun because you make money. They or don't care about spending the money, but when you're selling something they need, if you're selling them a used car that they got to get back and forth to work in, it's not as much fun.
Yep.
But definitely identify with I remember the first book I read was Og Mandino's World's Greatest Salesman. I don't know if
Mhm.
you ever read that book, but I read that book cover to cover when I first started in sales at 15 because I was like, how do you become the best? How do you become the greatest? And in reading that book, I realized that he just didn't take no,
Yeah.
from anybody. Like whether it was the owner of the company or he came into, I don't know if you read the book, but he came in to apply for a job as a salesperson, and they told him, well, we don't have any openings, and he said, well, I mean, y'all work on ups, right? And he said, well, yeah, we work on ups. And he said, I won't take any ups. Just let me have a desk and a phone and give me a title as a salesperson. And he outsold everybody in the dealership that month
Yeah.
because he literally went to the phone book. That's how old I am. He went back to the phone book and he went to A and he called Mr. Abernelli and he said, Mr. Abernelli, my name is John and I'm here at or Og, I'm here at the dealership and I was wondering, do you need a car? And that's how he got all of his leads. He would just call down the phone book and be like, "Are you considering buying a car? Would you consider buying one if we give you a good deal?"
Yeah.
So I get it. Like cutting your teeth in the sales is one thing, but cutting your teeth in the car sales like that, I feel like that gives you like a whole nother level of understanding of people. You dealt with every walk of life. Was it luxury cars? What kind of cars was it?
I worked at a Toyota dealership is where I got
Okay,
my just kind of your standard domestic,
basic. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
cars, right?
Your
So
grocery getters. Yeah.
what was interesting, what's always been interesting about my approach is I don't like cold calling. I don't like approaching. Nah, I shouldn't say that. I don't mind approaching people on the lot, but it definitely wasn't my style. I wanted people to come in because they wanted to come in because of what we were offering. So what ended up happening was I found a really good way to sell kind of all the leads that everybody else hated, which was like mostly email only, like type of leads that would come in. Everybody's like, oh, you can't do anything with email only leads. So I was like, well, geez, we get a bunch of these. Let's see what we can do. So what I would do is I'd come in extra early every day and I would have a list of all the ones that came in the day before, and I'd just go out and I'd do like a very customized, tailored video, walk around to the vehicle that they were inquiring on. And something kind of cool started happening was these people started to respond. They're like, no, nobody's ever actually taken the time to do like a full walk around and description of the vehicle and answer my questions that I put in the email, right? Like they have questions and people would just glaze over that. And would just respond to the email, like, do you want to come in and set an appointment for this car?
So was this 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15
Oh,
years
this
ago?
was
I mean,
2017.
okay,
So
2017. Okay.
almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I just started having a lot of success with that. The other thing
Was
that
it younger people or was it older people
was
or?
the range, I think probably you're talking probably the like 40, 50s. I have a couple couples that came in that were older that were using emails and stuff too.
Yeah, I was just curious because I know like this generation, it's so difficult to reach because you've got their attention for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like if you're really good, and if you're doing an email, you got the first 3 seconds, to get their attention. So I mean, like the fact that you put a video in it, I think that probably, sealed the deal as far as like getting them to actually look at it,
Yeah. Get them
and
to
read it.
respond was the
Yeah,
game, right? Just get them to say something because once you get them to respond and engage with you, then you have them, from there,
right.
relationship with them. The other unique thing about me was I would often have a lot of B-backs, right? Like in the car business, they'd always say if somebody leaves, they're not coming back. Well, you got to hope on the B-back bus. And the whole time I was doing this stuff, like my managers, when people would walk, they'd be like, "Well, there's no one for the B-back bus. Like, good luck with that." And then it was just kind of funny as it kind of went on. Like the weekend would come, I'd talk to these people in the middle of the week. The weekend would come, and all of a sudden, these people that I talked to that left would come back on the weekend, ready to buy a car. And my manager's like, "What did you do to get them back in here?" I'm like, "Just followed up and touched base with them." I was well, didn't strong arm them, just communicated with them, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just had success there. So that's just kind of been my approach my whole time is just, build trust with people quickly, be authentic with people, try to sell people the way I want to be sold in a lot of ways, right? Like I think that's a big piece of everything, right? But being able to meet people on their level and almost be a chameleon, right? A mirror, if you will, of matching their personality styles and just being able to pick up on that quickly and step right into it with them instead of kind of that awkward fumbling around and feeling things out with certain individuals.
yeah.
So
So Tracy, I feel like that, like you can identify with this is like what I found is that I don't know, or you're coaching now, right? Is what you're saying. You're doing the coaching in the company now. You're not doing car sales anymore. You're doing coaching.
yeah,
Uh,
my business is consulting and teaching of other business
okay.
owners and things. And I'll
The reason why I
go,
was asking is because in Tracy's personality, he works and does sales for me in the region in New Orleans, and I remember the first time Tracy and I went out to train. Tracy and I's relationship, I've known him for years, but it wasn't in the sales type mentality. It was more of a operations manager. He ran all of the DirecTV franchise for me and the Dish Network franchise and different stuff that we did. So I remember the first day we went out, and Paul, I was training him the way that I do sales. Like we have a business to business B2B business type business where we meet with small business owners and do networking and stuff like that. And so we're always like going in just cold calling to small businesses. Hey, my name's Joey. This is what we do. Would you like to meet with other entrepreneurs? This is our group. And so we started going out the first day, and Tracy, I feel like he was. I think by the time I think we went the first full day, and like the second day, he pulled me aside and he's like, "I don't think I could do this." He's like, "This isn't gonna work." He was all like you. He's like, "That my personality is not like I don't feel comfortable just walking into a place cold calling and talking to people. Like while I'm walking in, he's looking up the Secretary of State to see who the owner is. And he's like, is John here? Like that was his comfort level, of being able to like research and dig in and then like call people with a direction. Whereas me, I could just walk in the room and I felt comfortable leading the conversation.
So finding those skill sets and then helping them understand how they fit within a company system, within our company system, whatever that looks like, is super important in getting them into a natural setting that really kind of protects their strengths, but also mitigates their weaknesses. Because if you have somebody that's spending too much time in a weakness, you're going to lose them and they're not going to ever bloom into what they should be, right? So,
Right. And that's, I think, very common. Like for me, it's very easy for me to get leads. That's just like my natural thing. But I get this endorphin release when I get the leads, and I just want to get some more leads. It's like the hunting dog that just likes to go get the squirrel. Whereas Tracy, I can give him 10 leads, and 6 weeks later, he's still calling those guys and like, hey man, let's go get lunch. Let's talk about this. Let's get, like, he's on it. For me, I'm like, hey, it was 6 days and they're done. Like,
yep.
we're going on the next. Let's go kill somebody else. So I think it's good to teach like people to identify their strengths and to show them that their weaknesses are indeed a weakness. I think that was my problem. Was like I never identified it as a weakness, so I never tried to get better at it.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, I'm a good salesperson.
Yep.
Like, but you're not if you don't actually close.
Right. I've got a good friend of mine that owns a business that's literally called Call the Damn Leads, and it's all about consistency and follow up. Like, his whole slogan is the money's in the follow up, right? Like, and there's a lot of truth to that, but not everybody is a follow up machine. So when you're building a sales process, right, in the car dealership, when we were hiring salespeople, there's a reason why you have BDR centers that set appointments. There's a reason why you have your closers. There's a reason why you have certain leads that go to certain salespeople that are better at long-term nurturing. And you just have to have a good mix of everybody. But it's your job as a manager or an owner, whatever, to find out who fits where and then feed them those leads in their style so that you can maximize their efficiency and the results. Because if I've got somebody that's a farmer and I keep telling him to go open up a phone book, open up a cold call email list and just start calling people, guess what? He's going to be burnt out within the first week and he's going to quit. Right? But if I've got a farmer and I go, hey, well, we got warm leads right here. They're ready for you to just pluck and talk to. They already know, like, and trust us. Just initiate a conversation, build a relationship with them, get them in and close them. Now we've got him in his strength, and that's his warm zone, kind of like what you're saying about Kelly is now he's got a name to him. He gets to build a relationship with them and he gets to kind of nurture them as long as he needs to until they're ready to harvest. Right. So it's finding a good mix because you have to have all of those types of people. And it's very rare for a salesperson to have all of those traits.
All three sets. Yeah. Like to be able to follow up and be consistent with it. And I know it's like, so do you feel like that it's just in somebody or do you feel like that it's something that can be trained?
Some of it can be trained, but I think, it's really important to understand people's personality types too, right? Like, one of the things that we did, and I still do with my company now, before I really bring anybody in for an interview, is we have them take the predictive index test, right? So that way I kind of get an idea of like what type of personality am I dealing with? Because if they're a strong A, right? They're a strong A type, and they're a very like extroverted person. You're not going to train that out of somebody. Just like you're not going to train an introvert to go be an extrovert, right? An introverted person or somebody that has introverted tendencies is almost never going to be a good hunter for the most part. Because that means you have to go out, you have to go commingle, you have to go find people. But a lot of times they're very good at nurturing long-term leads and growth because that's a comfort zone for them, right? So just identifying those traits up front and knowing what you can and can't train is a good thing. You can train anybody to do some follow-up stuff. That's just simple, like put some procedures in place and make it easy for them to do for the most part, right?
I mean, you say that, but like I downloaded Salesforce, and I bought in, man. I went all in, and I was like, hey, give me the $3,000 version. We're gonna max it out into our entire organization because I can't lead in this area because I don't do it. And then immediately, like I found within the first 3 months, first 90 days, I was like, oh wait, somebody has to key in the data. Like, wait a second. I'm not getting any response out of this because I never keyed in one lead
That's fair.
to the data. And so like I I found myself as a manager, as the owner of the company, I found it hard for me to come down on my guys
Yep.
because I was like, yeah, I hate doing that too. Like what?
Take shortcuts.
Yeah. So how do you like navigate through that? Like that, for me, like I literally hired a secretary and put him with my lead sales guy and said, look, you're amazing at sales. You suck at follow up. She's going to take everything that you do and she's going to follow up as if she's you. Give her your login for your email, give her
So
your cell phone, and she's going to text people. And
So some of the ways that we've worked our way through that with our system is set up some critical automation pieces for certain, catch-alls. But the one thing that's helped us a lot, especially with the fact that we spend a lot of time on Zoom calls with people, is I have a little recording system called Fathom. When Fathom gets done, when the video gets done, our Zapier actually takes that, connects it to our CRM, and it just dumps the notes plus action items into our CRM. So all the notes from the conversation are put in there. If you're on a phone call, you record it. You can take your notepad and you can take that call and you can transcribe it. And then we send that to our VA. And then our VA takes those notes and then puts that into the right customer's like information. So then it's there. And then they create tasks for us. So in some ways, yes, we've taken some of the follow up out of the salesperson's hands. But I had to go through all those steps first myself and learn those steps myself before I could communicate that to the team on how to do it and make it
yeah,
more. Right? So like in some ways, I just had to force myself to learn the system, at least in a capacity that I could explain it and articulate it to the team of this is how we're going to use it. Here's how it's going to function. Here's where we need the key automation places to come in order to trigger these events along the pipeline so that stuff doesn't fall through the cracks.
yeah. I think it's really hard though and you've taken the personality profile test, so you know your personality. It's hard to take a personality that's completely opposite of yours and even have mercy on them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just like, just do the damn thing. Like, just do it. Like I told you to do it. Just do it. Whereas like, I think, I think that's my take that I would say. I do coaching and consulting too, like, but on the sales side of thing with larger companies that are trying to implement sales, features into their company, that they haven't had before. So what I find is that like we attract ourselves. Like if I'm interviewing people, I hire people that I get along with. And the problem is that I had to literally start getting other people to interview people because I was like, I need somebody that's not freaking like me. I need somebody else in this organization that can actually, be the mean guy, and be like, hey, why aren't you filling out your paperwork? Get your paperwork done, man.
Yep.
So I think that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. My personality type's always been almost in realms of like a collaborator, right? So kind of like the glue that holds everybody together. And some of the strengths I've always found is like I have a very high level of empathy, which is good and bad, right? Because it tends to have me keep people around longer than I should because you're like, well, I can see the good in them. I think if we just do a few things, they're going to get better. When really the flags are all there, you should just cut them and be gone with them. But the cool part about what I've kind of learned about myself and kind of as I look back at my life is I've always been able to kind of chameleon in with people, right? So
Yeah,
that's always been a strength is even if they've got a different personality type with me, I can basically mirror that personality with them. And
and
it
make them feel
allows
comfortable. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. That's one of my strengths, but one of the weaknesses of that is that it can get taken advantage of by employees that know how to manipulate, right? So learning how to protect, not be too open, not be too transparent, and have that kind of relationship with people has been definitely a learning curve for me. And I think learning that stuff about yourself is incredibly important and effective and how to use it in a good way.
well, and building a team, like I find that it's very difficult because, I mean, like if we look at the Bible, for instance, like Jesus, like, okay, he had 12 disciples, but there was 125 disciples that followed him around. But the Bible says he had three people that were like his close three, Peter, James, and John, that they sort of just hung out with him, and they were the closest. And I don't know, like of course, I mean, I don't want to get all biblical.
Yeah.
It's not a preaching message, but I'm just saying it's like I feel like
Check, check.
Jesus probably was like all the personalities in one. Like he was perfect. You know what I'm saying? So like I feel like that he was able to be like all of them, and he could identify, like you're saying, like chameleon, like identify with them, and like he understood Peter, and he's like, hey, look, you're gonna fail, you're gonna screw up. I get it. Be strong. Don't freak out. So I think for me, like figuring out how to have that balance, because my personality is that I want to just take everybody into the three.
Yep.
Like I'll have 125 threes.
Yep.
Say my like all of them being inside the inner circle, and I don't know how to like separate them out. That I think that's a tough thing to do as as somebody that likes to pull people together.
Yep.
Uh, I think that's like a problem that I struggle with. Do you see that like in your line of work, like what you're doing?
Well, so kind of, part of just, so you kind of know what we do. A lot of our consulting is around actually working with business owners themselves directly on
Right.
actually de-risking their lending relationships, right? So building out good business credit profiles, getting good lending relationships. And so what I see in my line of work when I'm working with different owners is how do you communicate to some of these guys? Because some of them are going to be like me. Some of them are going to be like Kelly. Some of them are going to be like you. A lot of them are drivers, right? Like
Right.
just take this, run with it, handle it for me. Okay, cool. Well, we can only do so much. So now I got to figure out how to communicate with you because I know your plate's full. How do I get you to do the stuff that I need you to do in a time frame that's going to make all of this work so that you can meet the goals and needs that you have for funding, right? So,
Right.
like I got a couple guys that are like, we wanted to get funding in 6 months. We want to be prepped for it. We want to make sure we get the best rates, but then you can hardly get a hold of them. So then it's how do you learn how to communicate to those guys to go, hey, this is what you need to do, right? So then you just itemize it and go, hey, when you get back home tonight, I've got a video that's walking you through these steps. I need you to go do these 3 things tonight. Here's how you go do them. If I can do them, I'm going to go do them for you because I know you're not going to have time or you're just not going to want to do it, right? So learning how to meet people where they're at
Right.
and then hand or transfer information off over to them in a way that they can adjust and handle without stressing out. Because some guys, if you give them more than like 3 sentences, they panic and freak out. And they're like, I can't do this, right?
And I imagine, so at what stage of lending are you dealing with people? Are you dealing with people at the holy cow, I'm about to lose my business stage, or are you dealing with people of, hey, I'd like to expand?
All of it.
Okay.
I've got some that we deal with that are like, man, I've got so much bad debt. I don't see a way out. I've made bad decisions. I got in with a debt consolidation company and things got worse. Right. So like we deal with those people and a lot of that relationship isn't even necessarily transactional. It's just very empathy. Like we get it, we understand. Let's look at everything and start kind of unwinding this debt ball and start getting this
Right.
manageable, right? You're not dead, you're not under. We'll get through this. You're fine. I come across 3 other people every day that are in the same spot you are. They're going to be fine too. Like, so you just kind of sympathize and relate with them. Um,
Yeah.
the other piece of that then is the guys I try to get the people at the start because our whole goal is to catch people before they need lending to help them build a good foundation and good credit, good financials, and then help them go be placed with the right type of lenders that are going to work best for them and be a lot more proactive around it because when you do that, you get a lot more lending options than the guys that do actively. So I'm trying to catch people before the reactive piece, right? So,
Right.
but it's a solid mix, it's start and somewhere in between.
Yeah. So I find that like in dealing with entrepreneurs, I have to deal with, so we have a organization with over 2,000 entrepreneurs in it. I can say that like the question of like whether they're going to fail or not is not there. Like like they're going to fail at something. Like something's going to happen. They're going to, and I even tell people that come to me and want to partner with me or whatever about stuff, I probe and find out like, okay, what was your biggest failure? And if they're like, well, yeah, I've never failed. I'm like, "Phew, I don't want to be anywhere around you then. Because I mean, if you haven't failed, like you don't even know how to navigate it. Like,
Yep.
because it's gonna happen, dude. Like you're gonna struggle. You're gonna have problems. You're gonna see failure. And it sounds like you probably see a lot of that, like in dealing with people.
Yeah.
Like, how do you help them to be able to breathe? and to remember to take the next step and to not just bury their head in the sand.
I think part of what helps me is, kind of my start to my business journey, right? Like I went from having a high paying job, left mutually with the company, and decided to start my own business, right? And so I went through it. My first year, I couldn't believe how fast I blew through almost $70,000 of savings and didn't have anything to show for it. And at the end of the year, going, uh-oh, I don't know what we're going to do here, but we got to figure something out. And then year two, right? Year two of my business, I transformed and I added lending onto our business, and I focused more on lending, and we grew a little bit. And there was still conflicts within me, and there still was cash flow issues, and there was still end of month where you're not sure if you're going to be able to pay your mortgage. So you're scrounging around trying to figure out where to get money from, how you're going to cover things, hitting your parents up for some cash to help you get through because you believe in your growth, and you believe in, whatever you have to do to keep things going, right?
Right.
Over leverage the crap out of your personal credit just to get to stay open, right?
Yeah.
So now here, where it's like now I found my groove, we dropped lending, we focus more on consulting and guiding, and we've blown up exponentially. So when I have guys that come to me and they're like, man, we're stuck. I don't know how we're gonna go. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I don't know how to get out of this debt. And it's like, look, it's okay, dude. Like literally anyone that's run a business and has been in business for 2 years and up has gone through these phases, right?
Yeah.
It's natural. And it's okay. You're not dumb. You didn't make a dumb decision. You made an uninformed, uneducated decision with lack of data and somebody that was really good at selling you a bag of goods, right? Like that's at the end of the day what it was. Sometimes it was just pure necessity. You had an issue. That was the solution. It was the only thing you could access at the time. And so you did it. That's admirable. That's what anybody should do, right? Like whatever you can to keep the doors open and keep yourself afloat for another day, right? So it's sympathizing, and then it's going, there is a way off. We might have an easier way, or we might have to just roll our sleeves up and just do it the hard way, but there's always a way out of it.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Paul. Thanks for your time.
That's it for this episode of The Tenacious Entrepreneur. Thanks for tuning in and being part of this journey. Are you an entrepreneur with a tenacious story? We want to hear from you. Visit our website, tenaciousentrepreneur.com, and click on the Tell My Story link. If you got something valuable from today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur. Keep pushing forward, and remember, the end is only the beginning. A new episode drops every Wednesday at 7:14 a.m. Until then, remember to stay humble, stay focused, and be tenacious.